This First Alert weather.
All right, we are monitoring a couple of frontal boundaries. That warm front that came through yesterday evening, bringing that increase in humidity that you're feeling today compared to yesterday. A cold front out in western Kansas would actually should be drawn as a dry line. This is automated, so I'm not sure why it's drawn as a cold front since temperatures are similar behind the front. But that frontal boundary that's right now a stationary boundary up in South Dakota, that will eventually be our cold front that pushes through, especially after midnight. So there's that dry line out in western Kansas. We have dew points in the mid-60s, making for a humid afternoon here in eastern Kansas, but much drier air behind the frontal boundary with dew points in the 20s, and that'll be the dry line that will be making its way into our western communities as we get closer to 4 o'clock. That's going to be key because that could determine where storms develop within that dry line and if storms are able to form along that dry line. So anywhere east of that dry line where dew points are still in the 60s as we get closer to 4, 5, 6 o'clock, that's where it's fair game for any storms that are in that area to be severe, and we'll continue to monitor that as we head into the late afternoon hours. Supercast is indicating those storms developing closer to 5, but just be very aware that there is still that potential, albeit low, that storms could develop as early as 3 or 4 o'clock, but better chance probably closer to 5 o'clock and then continuing through the evening hours, mainly north of I-70. The way it looks right now, that's where the higher potential for severe weather will be, and then we'll get that second wave south of I-70. This is from the cold front that pushes through, and that may not be quite as severe as what it will be compared to the evening storms, but still can completely rule out a brief severe thunderstorm warning from those storms south of I-70. But we're still focusing on areas from Topeka to the northeast and that enhanced risk of severe weather where all hazards are possible, including hail to the size of baseballs and the potential for tornadoes. We have to be very careful and be monitoring those storms closely this evening. And then, of course, we'll keep an eye on the localized flooding threat. So make sure you have your weather radio ready to go. Even if by chance we do get storms that are severe after midnight, have a way to receive warnings as you sleep that will wake you up. But I still think the highest risk for severe weather is during the evening hours before midnight, at least the highest potential for those baseball-sized hail and the tornado threat. Otherwise, keep an eye on the WIBW weather app as we'll continue to keep you updated throughout the rest of the afternoon hours. Mid to upper 70s across much of the area right now, 80 in Concordia. Windy, south winds gusting around 40 miles per hour for most areas. That will continue the rest of the afternoon as those high temperatures warm in the low to mid 80s and then cooling down more in the upper 60s heading into tomorrow, with most of the storm activity starting to move back into the area by the afternoon hours, mainly south of I-70 and then overspreading the rest of northeast Kansas at times between Tuesday night through Thursday morning. I don't expect severe weather out of all the low storms between tomorrow through Thursday. Lightning would be the main hazard. Otherwise, looking at dry conditions Friday and Saturday as temperatures start to rebound back in the low to mid 70s through the weekend.